worth guests.
When you have people who have no track record becoming your leaders, you have a problem.
There's no outstanding gratuity when Obi took over from me. I left in all the accounts of Anambra State 13.8 billion for him.
Your day cannot be complete without Signature Morning on weekdays and Signature New Day on weekends. There is no better way to start your day except Signature Morning and Signature New Day every day on Signature TV.
Get plugged into the heartbeat of entertainment on The Hub, your ultimate show on eVibes. From trending stories and social media drama to top charting music, must-watch movies and exciting moments from the world of arts, we've got it all. Join us.
Welcome to Global News on Signature TV. I am Barry Kumo Ado. In the headlines, Tinubu directs EFCC to unfreeze Osun government account. Federal government activates seismic monitoring as tremor rocks Abuja. Iran says deal with Oman on Straits of Hormuz is in final stages. And Indian journalist convicted in a rape case. Details in a moment.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
President Bola Tinubu has directed the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to vacate a court order freezing an account belonging to the Osun State government. In a statement the president issued on Thursday, Tinubu said that even though the action of the EFCC is backed by a court order, he feels deeply embarrassed by the timing of the action. Said he has directed the EFCC to immediately proceed to the court to vacate the order and discontinue whatever action it has instituted against the Osun State government in this regard. The president alleged that every action taken by an institution of state, especially concerning other organizations, must reflect what the Constitution says. The president noted that any action taken is always credited to him as president, even when he may not have had any prior knowledge of the action. The president stated that since such action had been taken, that it must be vacated. On Tuesday, Governor Ademola Adeleke said the EFCC froze one of the state's accounts domiciled with a commercial bank, which he said is used for the payment of workers' salaries, by planning to freeze the accounts of some top government officials. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, says the administration of President Bola Tinubu will strengthen its engagement with Catholic bishops. In a statement in Abuja, Akume said that most of Nigeria's challenges require collaboration between government, faith communities, traditional institutions, civil society organizations, as well as the private sector and citizens. Addressing concerns about Nigeria's democracy, Akume said the Tinubu administration remained committed to constitutional democracy, the rule of law, and political pluralism. Rejected suggestions that the government was pursuing a one-party state, citing the registration of 21 political parties by the Independent National Electoral Commission as evidence of deliberate act to open the political space. Sentiment follows recent engagement between President Bola Tinubu and the leadership of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, which has resulted in a war of words between the presidency and some concerned Nigerians. The Senate Committee on Customs has commended the Nigerian Customs Service for generating 7.3 trillion naira in 2025, exceeding its 6.5 trillion naira target. Committee gave a commendation during a retreat organized for the Senate Committee on Customs in Abuja with the theme Legislative Oversight in the Context of NCS Modernization and Reforms. Chairman of the Senate Committee, Jibrin Issa, pledged stronger legislative backing to sustain reforms and modernization in the service. Issa urged the service to identify and address challenges in order to achieve even stronger results in 2026 for national development.
I want to commend the Nigerian Customs Services for all these feats. Talking about your performance, arising from all these reforms, in 2025, the approved budget was about 6.5 trillion naira, but the actual received was about 7.3 trillion. On behalf of the Senate of the Federal Bank of Nigeria, I want to appreciate the CG, members of the management staff, members of the management and staff of Nigerian Customs Services for this impressive performance. I commend you all. Going forward in 2026, we believe that you can do a lot better. What you need to do is to identify your challenges, try to address them as much as possible so that you can have a much more robust performance in 2026 and beyond. Where you require legislative backings, please do not hesitate to call on us.
The Comptroller General of the Service, Bashir Adeni, emphasized the importance of building familiarity between legislators and the service beyond formal accountability sessions. However, cautioned against relying solely on figures as a measure of success of the organization and stressed the need for greater reforms for sustainability.
For decades, this service operated under legislation written for a different century and in a different pattern of trade. The new Act gave us a modern legal basis for electronic processing, for advanced rulings, for authorized economic operator status, and for funding mechanism that makes sustained investment possible. You are not observing our reform from outside it. You offered the condition for it, and for that, would say a very big thank you to you. And that brings me to what I consider the most useful thing this retreat can offer us. The Act has now been in operation for 3 years. A statute of that age is no longer a proposition. It is a record. There is now evidence for which provisions have worked as intended.
Customs Boss noted that the Nigeria Customs Service Act of 2023 provided the legal foundation for reforms such as electronic processing, advanced rulings, authorized economic operator status, and sustainable funding mechanisms, and urged legislators to focus oversight on systemic outcomes rather than isolated incidents. The ENUGU State Commissioner of Police, Maman Giwa, has called on youths across the state to shun cultism and other social vices and embrace opportunities for productive engagement. Police Commissioner who made a call during the police campaign against cultism and other vices held in ENUGU also urged them to consider joining the Nigerian Police Force to pursue a career in the service. Correspondent Chinemere Kegbana reports.
The campaign brought together police officers, traditional rulers, community leaders, youth groups, students, and stakeholders from across ENUGU State who came out to listen to the dangers associated with cultism, drug abuse, violence, and other criminal activities threatening societal peace and development. The Police Commissioner Mamangiwa noted that security is everyone's responsibility and called on citizens to work closely with law enforcement agencies by providing useful information that can help prevent criminal activities. He further encouraged young people in the state to take advantage of available recruitment opportunities in the Nigerian police force, stressing that there are vacancies and a commitment to absorbing qualified youth into the system.
You, the youth, I don't know why you don't want to join police. Why is it that you don't want to join the police? His Excellency, the Executive Governor, has bought over 100 vehicles. They are there, lined up. They are looking for policemen to put in those vehicles so that we can make your state safe. But there are no men.
The commissioner expressed concern over the increased involvement of youth in cult-related activities and other social vices, describing the trend as a major challenge requiring urgent intervention from families, communities, religious bodies, and security agencies. Speaking at the event, the National Coordinator of Police Campaign Against Cultism and Other Vices, Pokakov, or Venone Kewin, urged youth to discover and maximize their talents and skills, irrespective of how insignificant they may appear. According to her, the campaign goes beyond awareness creation and seeks to provide platforms that empowers young people to become productive members of the society.
And how do you not just talk to them or sensitize them? How do you take their mind off crime? One of the ways we do this is through partnership with different organizations, NGOs and private institutions, civil society organizations. We partner with them in terms of building of skills, creating skills and developing skills for them to have what they are doing.
Stakeholders at the event commended the initiative, describing it as a proactive approach to crime prevention, youth development, and community engagement.
Policing is not all about kinetic force. It's about this kind of campaign so that people will begin to understand us.
As much as it's our responsibility to start from the grassroots, to nurture these children in the sense of responsibility. Let them make the good from the back.
Having community leaders here, I can assure you that we are going to take this message home.
The program also featured the presentation of awards of excellence and selfless service to deserving organizations and individuals, including the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, non-governmental organizations, the chairman of the Police Community Relations Committee, PCRC, and the traditional rulers for their contributions to public safety and community development. In ENUGU, Chinemere Mikebuna, Signature TV News.
The Nigerian Communications Commission signed a 15-year lease agreement with the ENUGU State Government for the management of its Digital Industrial Park and Digital Learning Center in ENUGU. The move is aimed at accelerating Nigeria's digital economy and expanding opportunities for technology-driven growth by transforming the center into an artificial intelligence institute and talent development hub. Correspondent Chinemere Mikebunam also has this report.
The partnership between the NCC and ENUGU state government is expected to deepen digital innovation, entrepreneurship, artificial intelligence education, and technology-driven job creation. It will help position ENUGU as a leading hub for digital service and innovation in Africa. At a signing ceremony held at the Government House ENUGU, the Executive Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Communications Commission, Dr. Aminu Maida, described described the partnership as a significant step towards achieving the plans of the federal government to build a $1 trillion economy driven by innovation, productivity, and private sector growth. Maida expressed confidence ability of the ENUGU state government to maximize the facilities, citing Governor Peter Mba's investments in education, digital infrastructure, innovation, and human capital development.
Your Excellency, these outcomes speak to purposeful leadership. I commend your vision and commitment to building an economy that is prepared for the future. I am particularly encouraged by the administration's renewed drive to recruit about 6,500 teachers in support of the Smart New School initiative. This is extremely important because more investment delivers more enduring returns than investment in people.
The special advisor to the governor on digital economy and micro, small, and medium enterprise, Arinze Chilo Ofia, expressed appreciation to the federal government and the NCC for entrusting ENUGU states with the responsibility of activating and maximizing the facilities for the benefit of citizens and the broader digital ecosystem.
We are really proud of this collaboration and the good work His Excellency is doing, Dr. NBC Peter Mbak. His digital transformation drive is very deliberate, and also want to thank our president for making sure these initiatives and collaborations between federal and subnationals is possible.
ENUGU State Governor Peter Mbak praised President Bola Tinubu and the federal government for prioritizing digital economy as a key pillar of national development. The governor noted that artificial intelligence is projected to contribute trillions of dollars to the global economy by 2030 and emphasized the need to prepare young Nigerians to participate effectively at the global arena.
We want to once again thank you for this great partnership that we hope will accelerate access to digital learning and create opportunity and unlock innovation in our states and the country at large.
The agreement marks another major milestone in ENUGU's digital transformation journey and is expected to strengthen the state's position as an emerging center for artificial intelligence, innovation, entrepreneurship in Nigeria and beyond. In ENUGU, Chinemerem Ikebunam, Signature TV News.
The federal government has activated enhanced seismic monitoring after an earth tremor shook parts of the Federal Capital Territory on Tuesday. Reacting to the incident, which was recorded by the Nigerian Geological Survey Agency, the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, directed the agency to provide early updates on seismic developments around the FCT. Minister urged residents to remain calm and go about their normal activities without anxiety. Alake was currently engaging investors in Washington, D.C., United States, on joint venture proposals in the solid minerals sector, said proactive measures have been put in place to ensure the safety of residents and property. The Nigerian Geological Survey Agency disclosed in a statement that its seismic monitoring station in Utako detected the tremor at exactly 11:23 a.m. and that the earth movement originated from a depth of 1 kilometer and traveled 4 kilometers within 5 seconds. Classified the incident as a light event of 1 to 2 magnitude on a Macaulay scale, noting that it was too weak to cause structural damage. The UK government has announced the appointment of Vicky Seymour as Deputy High Commissioner to Nigeria. Statement by the UK government on Thursday noted that Seymour will succeed Gil Liver OBE as resumed the role in the Federal Capital Territory, having completed a posting in June 2026. The statement said a new envoy will support and strengthen UK's partnership with Nigeria, which spans economic growth, security, migration, development, international collaboration, and links between both countries. Seymour brings more than 2 decades of experience across diplomacy, international development, and government. Most recently, she served as head of the East Africa Department at the UK Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, a position she held since 2023. Her career has included senior leadership roles across Africa, including Uganda, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Afghanistan, as well as positions focused on climate, security, and economic development. Still to come, North Korea fires unidentified projectile to the east of the Korean peninsula. And senior FIFA directors apologize for their aborted plan to open the World Cup to private investment. Stay with us.
We are local.
The international community is observing
Why the main market is in chaos. People
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended say aye. Aye.
We have taken the vote by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Iran says it has reached an agreement with Oman on a route to shipping through the Straits of Hormuz. Foreign Ministry spokesman Ismail Baghai did not give any further details on the agreement, which he said was in the final stages. However, warned that a deal with Oman will not guarantee safe navigation through the strait, arguing that security remained impacted by the U.S. blockade of Iran's ports. The U.S. and Oman have not commented on the proposal. Since the U.S. and Israel attacked Iran in February, Tehran has largely blocked the Straits of Hormuz, through which about a fifth of the world's oil and liquefied natural gas usually passes. U.S. President Donald Trump had warned on Tuesday that Iran will be hit very hard if the strait did not open very soon, following comments by senior U.S. officials that talks had progressed to allow shipments to potentially resume later this week. An Indian court has found former Tailka magazine editor Tarun Tepal guilty of raping a former colleague, overturning his 2021 acquittal in a decade-old sexual assault case. The Goa bench of Bombay High Court said it was convicting Tepal under sections of Indian law pertaining to rape and sexual harassment. Tejpal was consistently denied the accusation against him, can appeal against the verdict in a higher court. His accuser, who cannot be named under Indian law, had alleged that he assaulted her in an elevator at a Talika event in Goa in November 2013. He was arrested and spent 7 months in jail until the Supreme Court granted him bail. In 2021, the trial court in Goa threw out all the charges against him, following which the Goa government appealed against judgment. Appearing for the Goa government, Solicitor General Tulshar Mehta urged the High Court to impose a maximum sentence on Tejpal, who was denied committing the offense, alleging political victimization. The head of the Catholic Church in Armenia, widely regarded as the world's first Christian nation, and 6 other senior clerics will go on trial on Friday, the latest escalation of a bitter struggle with the government of Prime Minister Nicole Pashinyan. Catholicos Kareni II, was led of church since 1999, is accused, alongside the other defendants, of failing to comply with a civil court order temporarily reinstating a bishop whom the church had defrauded and face up to 2 years in prison if convicted. The case is the most significant legal challenge yet to the leadership of the Apostolic Church, a powerful institution in Armenia that traces the country's adoption of Christianity to 301 AD. It comes amid deepening tensions between church and state over Pashinyan's leadership and his handling of peace talks with Azerbaijan after a series of wars dating back to the 1980s. Pashinyan, re-elected in June, has won strong backing from the European Union as it tries to steer Armenia closer to the West and away from Russia's orbit. But opposition politicians, church leaders and civil society groups say the prosecution of the Catholicos is politically motivated and part of a wider crackdown on government critics. South Korea's military says North Korea fired an unidentified projectile on Thursday towards the sea to the east of the Korean peninsula. The launch follows a series of tests this year, including short-range ballistic missiles, artillery rockets and other tactical weapons. designed to bolster the isolated state's military capabilities. North Korean state media said the most recent confirmed weapons test in late June involved an upgraded 240mm multiple launch rocket system, tactical ballistic missiles, and a 155mm self-propelled howitzer. In sports, Ebonyi state government has approved the establishment of a female football team to boost sports development and empower young local talent. State Commissioner for Youth Development and Sports, Chidi Onya, announced the initiative during a familiarization visit by the Ebonyi State Chapter of the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria in its office in Abakaliki. Onya highlighted that the approval aligns with Governor Nwifuru's commitment to reviving sports across the state, coming on the heels of a gold medal won by Gabriel Ogazi, the men's 400 meters event at the Glasgow 2026 Games. Onya revealed that the governor has approved the resumption of payment of stipends for National Youth Service Corps members serving in Ebonyi State after over 10 years. Chairman of SWAN in Ebonyi State, ENUGU Sumwa, congratulated Onya on his appointment and pledged the association's continued media support. And on a sad note, Ugandans are mourning the death at 27 of
SC
David
Villa,
Owori,
Captain
one of
David
the country's best-known footballers, after he was beaten by suspected robbers near his home in the capital, Kampala. Police said Owori was fatally assaulted after resisting an attempt to steal his mobile phone and other belongings, prompting an outpouring of grief and renewed public anger over violent crime in Uganda. The late footballer captained Sports Club Villa, the Uganda Premier League record champions, where he played both as a right back and midfielder and also represented the country's national team, the Cranes. Witnesses said a group of attackers hit the footballer with paving stones on Tuesday night before robbing Owori of his belongings and fleeing, leaving him unconscious. SC Villa spokesperson Asan Kayenge told journalists that he was rushed to a nearby medical clinic and then transferred to a private facility in the city, where he died of injuries on Wednesday. Local police spokesperson Rachel Kawala said detectives were pursuing leads to identify those responsible. Senior directors of the Federation of International Football Association, FIFA, have apologized for the controversy surrounding the now shelved plan to open the World Cup to private investment. Facing a barrage of criticism, FIFA's leadership acknowledged errors in the aborted plan, but nonetheless landed full backing to FIFA President Gianni Infantino. Infantino has come under increasing pressure, even from within his organization, over his handling of the proposal, and called for him to step down at grown since he abandoned it last Saturday. FIFA floated the plan, saying it could raise up to $4.2 billion based on a valuation of $20 billion for a new commercial subsidiary called the FIFA Forward Enterprise, which it proposed would run events such as the World Cup and the World Club World Cup. After the meeting in Rabat, the FIFA Secretary General and members of the FIFA Management Board in attendance, the statement reaffirmed their support for FIFA President as the only official elected by the 211 FIFA member associations. And that's the wrap on Global News. I am Barry Kumado. Thank you very much for watching.
Get plugged into the heartbeat of entertainment on the hub, your ultimate show on e-vibes. From trending stories and social media drama to top charting music, must-watch movies and exciting moments from the world of arts, we've got it all. Join us for unmissable conversations with your favorite entertainment personalities, plus fun segments every week.
I should try harder, so...
Okay, I don't know that one.
Outfit of the day.
Oh, I don't do that. That's some Gen Z stuff.
Oh, now you say it's a Gen Z stuff.
It's everything you love about entertainment, served fresh every week at 1 p.m. with weekend repeats just in case you missed it. The Hubs on e-vibes, where the vibes never stop. Only on Signature TV.
My name is Jason, and I'm a champion. Storytelling is the most powerful tool for changing the world and shaping ideas and people. And so to be part of this program, it makes me feel like I'm part of something important that will change the future and create a better, safer world for everybody to live in.
In every generation of storytellers, there are those who simply write stories, and there are those who quietly reshape the way stories are told. Jason Abaga belongs to the latter. A screenwriter, poet, songwriter, and cultural storyteller, Jason Abaga has spent years helping to craft some of Africa's most influential screen narratives. His writing credits include the acclaimed MTV drama series Sugar, the television drama Unbroken, and the hit comedy drama Hustle, where he served as head writer. Through these works, he has consistently explored the complexities of human relationships, identity, ambition, and social change. But Jason Abaga's impact extends beyond the scripts he writes. At a time when conversations around representation and inclusion are transforming global media, Abaga has emerged as one of the creative voices championing gender equitable storytelling in Nigeria.
The situation, of course, was an example I used last time, which is that there's a popular example about people trying to watch a football game, and there's a fence blocking them, and that fence blocks them from seeing. So the top people can come and see, the short people cannot see. You get, and that's of course that's a state of inequality, you know. And then if you want to fix it now, and you want to make things equal, what most people do is that you bring a box for the short people to stand on, so everybody can see over the fence, you know, and then you say, well, I've equalized everything. But where we now want to go to equity is where we take away the fence completely, right? So like I said, I was thinking about everything, and I said, even as Nigerians, as Africans, the work is even more complicated than taking away the fence, because there are the structural fences that have existed. Thank you. Then there are a lot of psychological, mental fences as well, that even without you being stopped, you will stop yourself. And there are people that have crossed the fence, gone into the place, met the people there. The people said, okay, not even that they were taking one. The people there said, you can come, but make sure you block the other ones from coming in. So it's a very complicated thing. And now the world is moving on, there's progress, and a lot of the structural fences are falling by the special grace of God. It starts at the story creation level. Your story needs to be, balanced, have equal gender representation, and push these progressive values, which we're working on here. For working with a producer, of course, the ideal situation is that you're both on the same page and both have the same values and they align. But the reality is that often it's just a paycheck and it's just a job you have to do. So my advice for writers is there are two ways to do this. The first is have the conversation up front with the producer and say that while writing the scripts, these are some of the things you're going to look out for. They are good things, and I don't see any reasonable producer saying no to them. And then secondly, as you're writing, there are little areas where, as a writer, you have influence, deciding what, for example, what gender a character will be when they show up, how they will express themselves, and the way they speak, and the sorts of opinions that are expressed in the script. Those are left to you to decide. And I think that every writer should see this as a call to action to infuse their writing with these values at every level.
As a man, I can relate to this specifically because when you have children, the traditional stereotype is that there are roles that the mother should provide and the father should provide. But in the course of my life, I found myself having to play both roles and do everything: cooking, school dropping, and we're trying to see how we can take that experience and put it into the story and see how when women are supported and given the freedom to explore their economic potential, it's better for everybody, better for the family and for the society at large.
Why we as creative people are so important in society. Sometimes the world treats us like crap. Come and do this, do that, send these documents, write this, do that. But really, we're here, we're healers, we help people process the heavy things of life. We tell them stories about themselves, we give them hope, we connect communities, we connect people to each other. And without us, I fully believe that the world will grind to a halt. But speaking with my female colleagues, there are a lot of obstacles they still face in the industry as writers and on sets. And I was really surprised and shocked to hear, of course it was a shock to me that in this modern era, there's a lot of, overt and subtle sexual harassment on some sets. And it's sort of like ignored and permitted. I was really shocked to hear that. So it's always weighed heavily on me, and I'm looking forward to a place where everybody is as shocked as I am that such a thing is happening in Hollywood. Yeah, that the norm is that everybody's respected on sets, and every producer makes sure that there's a gender balance and equity on their sets. So that's what I hope to work on.
The stories is that the human brain has no defense against the Rothwell story. I came up with this quote. Here's your workshop. The reason I'm saying this is because human beings, we are storytelling animals, and our identities are stories, and really, if somebody tells you a good story about yourself, it's very hard for you to question whether it's the truth or not. We see examples of this in history, in our mythology, in our religion. I treat that differently, to say that we're born into the world and we have to play catch up on everything. And a lot of it, these are things we learn growing up, and we never make a conscious choice to say, okay, I believe this or I don't. And then we see that in propaganda, advertisements, and the different narratives that play around the world. So these stories are going around the world, influencing everything: economics, social hierarchy, the law, and we have to just be careful with these stories.
That equitable storytelling, and those words are so grand and mighty and heavy, so I thought about them a lot. From my years of training, my writing, the world we're in, everything, and I've been working to teach people about how it's not something to be intimidated by. Lots of the words are big and long, inclusivity, intersectionality, all these big words can feel very strange and alien, but good storytelling comes naturally to all of us as like our birthrights, as Nigerians, as Africans, as long as you're in the creative space. And if there's any work that has to do, is sometimes the work of unlearning bad habits you've learned, making lazy assumptions about people, generalizing quickly, assuming everybody's the same, just lumping people into one box, the things that we hate for people to do to us. So we just spent some time talking about sharing how bad it feels to be excluded. I would say this session is extremely important to me because it's taken me a long time to get here. I had to do a lot of reading, research, and understanding and growth as a person to feel comfortable enough to teach other people about this. My preparation for today involved revisiting a lot of the material that we'd covered as part of the CC Hub Champions program, doing a little bit of research and a lot of thinking to make it relevant to African and Nigerian artists and writers. specifically. One of the things that's really brought it home was the exercise at the end of the session where it's called It Takes a Village, and the task is to create a hero to save the village. And the hero has to be a Nigerian woman. So it's a task that just makes it real and shows you that storytelling to Africans is natural when we have the right message. I think these events are not just beneficial, I think they're essential. I think the amount of work that they do in terms of community building and reshaping ideas and ideologies cannot be measured, and I look forward to seeing more of them.
What makes his contribution particularly significant is his position within the industry. As a male screenwriter, actively creating opportunities and mentoring pathways for women in film and media, Abaga demonstrates that gender equity is not solely a women's issue. It is a storytelling one. Abaga uses his creative expertise to inspire women in film and media through mentorship and access to opportunities. His work represents a new generation of African storytellers, one that understands that authentic storytelling requires a diversity of voices around the writer's room, behind the camera, and on screen. That perspective is rooted in his background.
Now, my third point is that nobody likes to feel left out and misunderstood. This is a very popular image about equality and equity. I love to put it up and talk about it because what it's showing is that, okay, these kids, for example, want to watch the game. Somebody has put up a fence, and then in order to make it equal, they provided all of them a box. And even though so we show this the same across the board, it still means that there's inequality because not everybody has the same amount of length in their legs, for example. So to make it equity means we address everybody's needs depending on what they need. Now, a lot of people like to stop here, but me, I like to dive deeper because as Nigerians, as Africans, I see it as we want to go and play that game, and then somebody can put up a wall, whatever has happened in the past, on that context we're coming from. And the work of equity is the work of removing these walls, these obstacles. And now the thing is that some of these obstacles are inside the stories that we believe and that we retell about each other. And they snuck in over time through culture, through tradition, and we perpetuate these false narratives about each other. And at the end of it, it is counterproductive for anybody to do so. For us to say, this segments of society are like this tribe or this gender or this person, to make such statements, it's counterproductive to do so.
The feeling of being excluded, some of the toughest challenges are when you're trying to change yourself. When people have known you your whole life and you're trying to change, the new stage for you, a new era, you're trying to change, and people are not accepting that version of you, and you have to let things go, let people go. And it's heartbreaking. The second one, which was spoken extensively about, was about being a woman in a male-dominated work environment, and the constant battles, the statements, the treatments that you go through, and all of that, and how that can be demoralizing as well. And the third, which you walked in on, was about being your own person. By the time you learn to love yourself and accept who you are, and you're confident in that state of existence, it creates friction, in other people, in other situations, people who might not be as confident in themselves or assertive, and this can lead to you feeling excluded and being a loner.
I honestly did not know what to expect from this workshop. I was here to just enjoy the lecture from Jason, but I think I was more inspired by also the community, the collection of souls and people and minds, and this idea of group work and just being in concert with other creative beings. That really touched me today, especially because I'm a solo creative. I'm always by myself. I'm always hibernating. I'm always in my cave. So it was really, really nice to feel the presence of other human beings and to create together. And now I am inspired to do it in all of my creative work. I'm looking forward to just connecting with people and having people in this space. I want to do it again and again and again and again.
Okay, so the big thing for me that I've gotten from this program is that I understand the meaning of what a champion is. So it's a word we say, but we don't really think about. But when I was watching She Runs the World, she had succeeded, she had gotten what she wanted. And then...
She who? Oh, you talk.
Sorry, Alison.
Alison who? When you watch it, she run the...
I can't remember her surname.
Alison the Olympic.
Yeah, the Olympian, Alison. Sorry. So what struck me was the moment she actually became a champion was when she had fought for her contract and her rights, and Nike had granted it to her. And then she looked at the terminology and said, okay, this protects me, but it doesn't protect anybody else. And then that's what she fought for. And when I thought about the word champion means somebody that fights for somebody else that cannot fight for themselves. So for me, that has hit me in the core. And of course, I've done a lot of subtle, progressive writing, trying to this thing. But right now, I feel like the time for subtlety for me is over. And it's time to hit people over their heads with this.
Reason why Signaturetv has a quote, and he says, for example, in a sexist society, all you're really deciding is that we're going to use only half of our resources and leave the other half unexplored. And when I look around in the world, and I see that the attempts to divide, in society, to split us into categories, to pit us against each other, whether consciously or unconsciously, these are the things that hold us back, that waste our time, that distract us, and cause a lot of confusion in our midst. Different ways that we exclude people. There's an unconscious bias, each human being. There's well-being ignorance. You don't know about a certain type of people or anything, and just like say met. There are the assumptions that we must make as human beings because we don't have information and we must fill in the gaps. So those are the ones I kind of look at as kind of harmless and keep an eye out for. And then the ones that are more, targeted and, evil, I would say. Prejudice, the isms, racism, sexism, tribalism, all those isms. And the language that we use, I like to talk about the language a lot because unconsciously inside our language, a lot of these biases are hidden. It's often been talked about how English is the sexist language. A lot of the words are very male oriented and focused on man this and man that and man that. And so unconsciously in your mind, when you're growing up as a child and they're telling you about the human race and they're telling you man, unconsciously you're thinking, oh, men are the human race, But the human race is men and women. Imagine growing up and they're only telling you, oh, a fictional tribe not related to anybody in Nigeria, please. There's a Mandu tribe. Those are the holy Nigerians. And that's what you're hearing. But you are a Nigerian by virtue of your birth. So these are the things that happen in society, and they cause lots of hurt and damage.
Travel home for Christmas, for example, as a guy especially, is like I'm traveling to a different world, right? So if I go to my village now, it is expected for women to serve men. All I have to do...
And I tell you guys to...
Thank you. As a man, all I have to do is sit down and enjoy it. Do you understand? So, but if I'm really about that life, it now puts a burden on me to start talking to people. And like we said, it's not necessarily about being preachy. Of course, there are moments where you need to rise up and speak.
As a poet, songwriter, and scriptwriter deeply invested in African culture and expression, Jason Abaga approaches storytelling with an understanding that culture is not static, it evolves. And the stories we tell about men, women, families, leadership, and society evolve as well. For emerging screenwriters, there is much to learn from his journey. First, that storytelling is influence. Every character written, every conflict explored, and every ending imagined shapes how audiences see the world.
To bring people together, we are the healers. People are hurt are gonna express emotion where sort of like the channel through which we bring healing to them, where they connect us, we help people see each other, see themselves, other people. We are truth seekers. We don't just stop at the surface level of anything. We like to go deeper and plumb the depths of what is real and what is not. We're the translators. When there are misunderstandings, you think to people, we help them see or two cultures that they're talking about the same thing, but maybe using different words and different contexts and perspectives and languages. We're the deep thinkers. And the one in bold that quotes, we are business minded. Because what I believe is that you're a storyteller. As a business person, if I come here and I want to make money, I'm not coming here to say, okay, I'm only making money from this half of the room or that half, or only the people wearing glasses. I want to make money from everybody. So I have to make sure that the story I'm telling as a business person to my crowd is open to capturing as many people as possible at the same time. So for me, it just makes business sense to, be as inclusive as possible in your storytelling. So this is me in the picture. So tools to help. Just as we tell our stories, as we go through life, things that I found helpful, having a community, having spaces like this where you can bring your heart out and have perspectives or during the making process or after, get good feedback, doing research before you start about tell me your story. The different guides and tools online, I'm sure we've all heard of them, the Signaturetv, the tech down test, all these things. Free tag, all these tools that help us create run on the parent test. I write truth and love. It sounds sappy and it sounds kind of preachy, but I really believe that if we tell our stories with truth and with love, we're really going to connect to each other and fulfill our purpose, and I believe make more money in the process.
So that all this to say now, in conclusion, as we head in, I think from everybody has said, the only comments I have will be to say that what we have in common is bigger than what keeps us apart. Yeah. Like everybody here, we might be meeting here for the first time, but if you start to draw the list of what we have in common, you exhaust it before you get to the list of what we have as a difference instant.
Second, that great writing balances entertainment with purpose. Whether writing youth-focused dramas like Sugar or long-running television series such as Hustle, Abaga demonstrates that compelling narratives can also challenge assumptions and expand perspectives. And finally, that lasting impact often comes from collaboration. Through workshops, roundtables, and industry conversations focused on gender equitable storytelling, he has joined fellow creatives in helping redefine what inclusive African storytelling can look like. In the Nollywood landscape, often celebrated for its actors and directors, Jason Abaga stands out as a writer who understands that change begins long before the cameras roll. It begins on the page, and through his work, he is helping ensure that the future of African storytelling is not only entertaining and culturally rich, but also more equitable, more inclusive, and more reflective of the societies it seeks to serve. This is why Jason Abaga is our champion.